Human App 6 Block Noise, the art of few things. Focusing on your objective is crucial because distractions, especially those who drain your energy, can easily derail you from achieving your goals. Energy is finite, and giving it away to people who complain, create drama, or obsess over trivial matters can sap the mental and emotional resources needed to make real progress. Energy vampires, people who constantly seek attention or validation, create noise that clutters your mind. When you get involved in their issues, you lose the mental clarity needed to solve your own problems. Engaging with people who constantly complain or bring negativity leads to emotional exhaustion. Sometimes you can't escape the people who drain you. We all know the type: the colleague who nitpicks a minor typo, the neighbor who gripes about your car being an inch too close to his driveway, or the relative who visits uninvited and always finds a stain on your curtain, a misplaced pillow, or a missing button on your shirt. These people thrive on attention. The more you engage with their trivial complaints, the more empowered they feel. In psychology, there's a principle: what gets rewarded gets repeated. You might think you're not rewarding them because you explain or justify the stain on the curtain, the moved furniture, the parked car, or the buttonless shirt. But you're wrong. The very act of responding to their petty issues is a reward. By engaging, you give them respect, attention, and validation. You waste your valuable time and energy addressing their insignificant concerns. You signal that their trivial grievances matter to you, that their narrow worldview has space in your life. Next time, they'll be back with more complaints, knowing you care enough to listen. Don't fall into the trap of their incessant need for validation. Prioritize your peace and reserve your energy for things that truly matter. Engaging with a hostile person drags you into a bizarre dance, mirroring their steps and reacting to their moves. By acknowledging their absurd or irritating behavior, you essentially validate their influence over you. The most potent counteraction to persistent hostility and absurdity is to utterly disdain it, ignore it. This tactic will unsettle them, throwing them off balance, leading them to make mistakes playing the ignorance and implied contempt card hands. You back the control needed to navigate the challenge. Hostile actions are often designed to impress or derail you. By ignoring them, you frustrate their intentions and continue unimpeded. Ignoring someone taps into a fundamental psychological principle. Since infancy, we've learned that the more we chase something, the more it eludes us. Overzealous pursuit triggers caution, retreat, or alarm in others. Unchecked desire renders you weak, dependent, and frustrated. You must be capable of turning your back on what you want, displaying contempt and disdain. This attitude will drive your adversary insane. Most of the time, they will react with even greater expressions of their desire, whether it's to get something from you, hurt you, or obstruct you. Picture the scene: a grand hall of polished stone, its vastness echoing with the murmurs of courtly intrigue. The air was heavy with incense, masking the tension that hung thick as storm clouds. At the center, Kublai Khan sat upon his raised dais, a man whose very presence radiated the weight of an empire. His robes, sumptuous yet unassuming, reflected the delicate balance he maintained, a Mongol warrior steeped in the raw traditions of the steppes, yet ruler of a sprawling, multi-ethnic dominion. Before him, advisors stood divided into factions, their body language revealing the schisms beneath the surface. On one side, military commanders with broad, weathered shoulders leaned forward, their hands gesturing sharply as they argued for immediate war. Their voices, rough from years on the battlefield, cut through the chamber with urgency. On the other, scholars in ornate silk robes huddled together, their expressions calm but wary, quietly advocating for diplomacy. Every whispered exchange seemed to add fuel to the simmering tension. Kublai Khan, the heir to Genghis Khan's legacy, remained inscrutable, his dark eyes scanning the room. His silence was deliberate, his stillness a stark contrast to the agitation of his court. He knew that any misstep here could unravel the tenuous threads holding his empire together. The debate was interrupted by the sudden, jarring sound of footsteps. All eyes turned toward the entrance as messengers entered, their faces pale, their movements stiff. Two of them carried a burlap sack, its ominous bulk swinging slightly with each step. They stopped before the Khan, their trembling hands untying the rope. A collective gasp rippled through the hall as the contents spilled onto the polished floor. Severed heads, their lifeless eyes staring into the void. The stench of blood and death mingled with the incense, cruel reminder of the brutality that lay just beyond the palace walls. The room erupted. Advisors recoiled, some turning away in horror, others leaning in for a closer look. The military commanders seized the moment, their voices rising above the chaos. "This is an act of war," roared one general, his fist pounding the table. "The Song have insulted the great Khan himself. To hesitate now is to invite further humiliation." Across the room, Rick, Kublai brother, stood tall, his imposing figure radiating righteous fury. Enough deliberation, he bellowed, his voice a deep, commanding thunder. My forces are ready. Let us strike before the Song can mount their defenses. Delay will only embolden them. But Kublai remained still. His eyes drifted over the gruesome display, unblinking, yet his expression betrayed nothing. The court fell silent, awaiting his response. Would he yield to the clamor for vengeance? Would he risk looking weak by advocating for restraint? Instead, Kublai did something extraordinary. He leaned back in his chair, his fingers lightly drumming the armrest, and allowed his gaze to wander, away from the heads, away from the generals, to the far end of the hall where sunlight streamed through tall windows. The act was almost dismissive, as if the grotesque spectacle before him was of no consequence. Let us speak of other matters, he said finally, his voice calm, almost casual. The room froze. His indifference was shocking, even unsettling. Whispers broke out among the courtiers, their confusion palpable. The generals exchanged incredulous glances, their fiery rhetoric extinguished by the Khan's cool detachment. Even Rick faltered, his hands clenching into fists as he struggled to mask his frustration. Psychologically, Kublai's maneuver was a masterstroke. By refusing to react, he shifted the power dynamic entirely. The severed heads, meant to provoke and humiliate, became powerless in the face of his disregard. His silence was not weakness, it was dominance. He was telling his court, his rivals, and even his enemies that he would not be baited, that his focus remained unshaken. The implications rippled through the room. The pro-war faction, denied the immediate validation they sought, grew restless. Their desperation to prove their point made them more predictable, easier to manipulate. The peace advocates, emboldened by the Khan's restraint, saw an opportunity to strengthen their position, crafting more sophisticated arguments to align with his deliberate approach. Even Rick, for all his bluster, found himself outmaneuvered. His fiery speech, meant to rally the court, now seemed rash and impulsive against Kublai's composed demeanor. And in the back of his mind, Rick likely questioned whether his own ambitions had been exposed. Did Kublai suspect him of orchestrating the provocation? The doubt was enough to sow hesitation. As the court moved on to other matters, the heads were quietly removed, their memory fading into the periphery. Yet the lesson remained. Kublai Khan was a leader who played the long game, unyielding in his control, impervious to the chaos around him. His strategy was not to react but to dictate the terms of engagement. He understood that power was not merely about action but about perception, and on that day, he cemented his authority not by declaring war, but by mastering the art of indifference. Did you like this analysis? It is an excerpt of Human Dynamics' Mind Map of 50 to Human Apps, a new book from Influence Architects describing 50 key human behaviors. The goal is to offer you the type of intelligence and consulting major decision-makers are generally getting. Influence Architects show you human dynamics, unveil propaganda, debunking fake news, shatter illusions, present myths and lies. We unfake for you. We show behavior patterns, we expose how the overlords rule, we work as your influence radar. Our channel will provide regular updates prepared by our team focusing on key narratives, as well as on manipulations that affect most of us, from financial to career moves, social political pressure, current trends and news, health, lifestyle and personal relationships. Our subscribers can go further with dedicated support. We do also personal support and coaching.